All right, for those of you that have already joined, hello everyone. My name is Parag. It is 10 a.m. here in sunny San Diego, and I'm with Phil, the CEO and founder of Payment Collect, and we're going to be talking QuickBooks Point of Sale today and payments. Hopefully, you're all excited about this topic as much as we are. Lots of information to share. We've got about 30 minutes. We'll go through some slides. We've got a set of FAQs about the QuickBooks Point of Sale sunset, and then we'll open the floor up towards the end for any questions that you might have. And just general housekeeping, there is a Q&A section in the webinar panel, so go ahead and type in your questions there. If you don't want to speak up in the call, we'll try and get to those questions over the course of our conversation today. All right, we're about a minute and a half in here. I still see some folks trickling in, but we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. Hopefully everyone can see my screen here. And again, my name is Parag. We're going to be talking today about QuickBooks Point of Sale and how do you kind of transition your business away as Intuit is going to be sunsetting a number of connected services on that product. My name is Parag, and I have with me Phil. Phil, do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending. We have about 30 minutes, so we're going to try to get to the point.
Yeah,
welcome
absolutely.
To ask me a question.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me, Phil. Again, Phil is the founder and CEO of Payment Collect. They're a partner of ours, and they're going to be offering the payment services. And let's jump right in. So as you all hopefully know by now, given the number of announcements Intuit has done about this over the course of the last 6 months or so, Intuit is sunsetting support for the QuickBooks Point of Sale product as of October the 3rd. This was the notice that Intuit sent out just a couple of weeks ago to announce the 60-day discontinuation. And hopefully you've had a chance to read through some of their suggestions, and they've pointed out kind of what their frequently asked questions are. But the TLDR is that point of sale as a piece of software will continue to work, but all of the connected services. So, things like payments. So Intuit's QuickBooks Merchant Service will stop working. They will not be able to provide support. Some of the e-commerce integration, the store exchange capabilities that they have, those are going to stop working. As a product, though, the software will continue to work. Since you've already paid for that solution, the software is not going to stop working. You'll still be able to use the software. But if you're not able to process payments and some of the other capabilities, that leaves you in a really tight position. And it's October 3rd. So we're already here in August. We're only a couple of months away now. So it's time to act. There's a number of questions that customers have asked us about what they should be doing next. And Intuit has provided certainly their set of frequently asked questions as well. So if you haven't already, please make sure you read some of those questions. But the way that Intuit is handling this is their recommendation is to entirely move off of their point of sale system and go over to Shopify. And one of the things that we're going to talk about in this conversation is, whether you should migrate to another point of sale system, or what are your choices if you want to stay with QuickBooks Point of Sale and continue to run your business without having to go through a whole bunch of disruption and potentially even save some of the fees that you might have been paying with merchant services by switching your payment provider. And that's why we have Phil here on the line as well. He's our trusted partner. He's the founder of Payment Collect, and they've been in this industry for over a decade, and they have thousands of merchants that use QuickBooks Point of Sale and process payments through their solution. And he's also just an expert in payments as an industry. So he can provide a lot of great insights into what's happening behind the scenes and how can we make sure that you can migrate over your payment processing with WebGility payments without disrupting your business and potentially also saving money. But to summarize, Intuit is sunsetting all of the connected services. But if you don't want to move off of QuickBooks Point of Sale and you want to continue to run your business as usual, there is a choice, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. So What do you get with Webgility Payments? What happens if you switch over from Intuit's merchant services and start to process your payments through Webgility Payments? Well, what's most important is in order to get the Webgility payment solution, you will need to get a new merchant account. So you're no longer going to be using your current merchant account. You're going to switch to a new merchant account. But all of the payment processing that you've been doing for all these years with your QuickBooks point of sale solution, that will continue to work as is. In fact, you'll get an enhanced integration inside QuickBooks point of sale. And you also could be able to continue using all of the same PAX terminals that you might have been using historically. You'll be able to do multi-store data exchange. So if you're running more than one location with QuickBooks point of sale, you'll be able to continue doing that. We also have with Webgility Payments and Payment Collect, you have native gift card program that'll replace the GiveX solution. So you can continue to offer gift cards. It supports all the major payment types of chip, swiped, keyed, NFC, and including EBT. And also there's potential cost savings. So I'll stop here for a minute and let Phil jump in, and he can share a little bit more about the Payment Collect process, the Payment Collect program, and talk about some of the cost savings and how really Webgility Payments can really benefit customers. Phil, please go ahead.
Greg, hello, everyone. One thing that I think is very important for you all to consider is that you will be able to continue using your POS for years to come. We still have clients on version 10 of QuickBooks, which goes back to 2009, around that date, and they're still up and running. So given that you most likely will be able to continue using your POS, it is important that you have the proper number of licenses to operate it. So in other words, you have to look into the future. If you have 2 licenses and you foresee yourself needing 2 more, this is the time to buy them. Intuit already stopped selling the multi-location licenses, but you can still add users to any existing licenses. So plan ahead, purchase anything that you need before October the 3rd. Now, what are the Intuit connected services that are being discontinued? Obviously, the first one is the merchant account. The other one is the multi-store data exchange, the gift card program, and they will also stop selling licenses and support. Now, we do have all the components that you need to keep using it. We have the merchant account, we have the GiveX program or the gift card program, we have the multi-store exchange. Now, when it comes to support, there are other companies out there that provide support. And given that the software hasn't changed much, I don't expect things to stop working. Intuit has already said that the licenses, you own them, you won't have to keep buying or paying for the license. It will continue to work. So you can continue using your point of sale. So just keep those in mind. Let me see what else. I'm just
jumping right ahead. So Philip, but really the question is, why stay with QuickBooks point of sale, right? Like, what is the real benefit here?
Absolutely.
Obviously, the biggest is to, avoid disruption, but there's a number of reasons why we feel that you don't need to go through that disruption despite Intuit connected services not working. There's a number of reasons here. So Phil, please.
Imagine now we're 43 days out from October the 3rd. Imagine yourself now having to deal with replacing hardware, buying and researching a new point of sale, figuring out what the monthly fees are going to be on the new software, which, by the way, we don't have any, trying to figure out retraining your employees. It's all very difficult, very time consuming, not including having to re-enter the data into a new system. There is no reason to go through all these pains. Once you sign up with us, basically the transition is seamless. We just got to get a new merchant account, reprogram or program new terminals that are going to be PCI compliant. So you're also eliminating the compliance out of the software, both and the operating system being Windows. So it is an easy path moving forward, much easier than having to start figuring out a brand new system.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And just to kind of, continue on that point, ultimately what we feel is that there's going to be a set of customers who maybe don't have a lot of history with QuickBooks point of sale. Maybe you have a very small catalog you have a small team, and you're comfortable moving your business over from point of sale to, say, a Shopify point of sale, a Clover, or some other point of sale system, that's fantastic. We support that. We would encourage you to use that as an option as well. But for most businesses that we encounter, this can be very disruptive if you're having to switch your entire point of sale system out. So what we've tried to do with this presentation, especially today's webinar, is to help you kind of figure out, if you don't want to move, what are your choices? And what we're here to tell you is you can continue to use your QuickBooks point of sale product, but all of the connected services, including integration into your e-commerce channels so that your inventory is matched up with your online sales, and your ability to actual process payments, that can all continue to work seamlessly while you're within the QuickBooks point of sale solution. And the only thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to switch your payment processor. And we'll talk a little bit about that in this webinar. We'll go through and show you how you can go through the sign-up journey. It's completely secure. It's PCI compliant. And Phil and his team over at Payment Collect will handle all of the ongoing technical and payment support, while our team here at Webgility will ensure that you are on a compatible plan so that your connection to your e-commerce channels remains intact and robust even after the sunset date of October 3rd. And you will not have to do massive retraining for your teams or order a whole bunch of new hardware, other than, of course, the new terminals. So Phil and his team will, after you fill out your merchant application, send over a new set of terminals and program them and quickly show your team how to process the credit cards from within point of sale. So speaking of what that looks like, here's a quick summary. This is the URL, and we'll share this with you offline as well, is you visit this website, fill out that form. Phil and his team are going to look at your past 3 months and of your QuickBooks statements. Based on those statements, Phil and team can analyze. And by the way, you want to upload exactly the PDF files that Intuit has sent to you, because Phil's team runs an automated algorithm to analyze that data. They'll come back to you with a revised estimate of your payment processing fees. And hopefully, we've seen now many of our merchants move to this solution, and they're seeing thousands and thousands of dollars of savings on a monthly basis by moving, because depending on when and how you signed up with Intuit's merchant services, there can be some margin there that Phil and team can help you recover. So you'll actually not only be able to seamlessly move, but ideally you'd also see some cost savings or switching over to this payment processing. Once you've received that estimate, you would accept those terms and get started. Phil and team are going to complete the merchant application with you. They will go ahead and ship out new PAX terminals to your team. They'll set up a session to get those terminals fully programmed and onboarded. You just plug them into your network and you'll be ready to go. Webgility behind the scenes will seamlessly upgrade you as well, and you're ready to roll. So it's a process of signing up for the payment solution. And you want to basically go ahead and move over to that payment processor. Now, that's the process. We've talked a little bit about the timeline. There's a number of questions that are streaming in. We will absolutely get to them, guys. We have a few sort of FAQs that we want to jump through, and we'll use the last 5 or 10 minutes to answer your questions. So I think we've already made the point, but it's really important. This does keep coming up again and again. Should I switch or should I stay with QuickBooks? And I think the answer really is up to you. It's your business decision of whether you should switch. But what we're here to tell you is that you don't have to. We're here to tell you that if you wish to continue using QuickBooks Point of Sale, you can. But if you think that you're prepared and would like to move to another point of sale solution, the window is tight. I know Intuit made the announcement now over 6 months ago, and we're now, at the home stretch, and it will cause some business pain. if you don't act now. And I'm sorry, I know there's a question here as well of panic. Guys, I'm sorry, we're not trying to create the panic here. Intuit announced this 6 months ago. They've been sending multiple discontinuation notices, and we've tried our best to kind of keep up with their timeline. But yes, it is sudden for a software that has existed for a little, over 10 years now. In fact, almost 15. It is really challenging to see it shut down, but it made sense for Intuit, and we're here to support you in the journey. You still have time. We're here to help you with that process, and work with us, and we can get you moved over. So if you want to switch to another point of sale system, you can. There are a number of solutions out there. We will go ahead and send a follow-up with this webinar with an email link to our website, where we have enlisted a number of other point of sale systems that we integrate with. So WebGility does integrate with Clover. WebGility integrates with Square. We integrate with Lightspeed point of sale as well. And of course, if you're moving over to Shopify point of sale, we can continue to support that integration as well. And if you decide to stay with QuickBooks, frankly, for at least the time being, it's a no-brainer, especially because you'll also get some cost savings by moving your payment processing and potentially with payment collect. Another question is, what if you actually want to keep using it? If you do decide to keep using it, what are the benefits? Phil, you want to talk a little bit about your experience with what benefits really customers get of staying versus the challenges or hurdles of moving?
Absolutely. So one thing before I wanted to make to everybody's attention and be aware, given that the timeline is getting close and moving fast, and there are thousands of users in a similar situation, don't procrastinate. Don't wait too long, because as merchants get into a panic state, more and more are going to try to switch, which is going to create that transition a little slower. So plan ahead. In regards to the benefits of using Payment Collect, really is you have a single point of contact. Any other solution other than Intuit most of the time requires more than a single phone call to get an issue resolved. For example, the software provider is one company, while the merchant services provider is provided by a separate company. They tend to point fingers at each other. And sometimes, especially when it comes to payments, you want to get things resolved quickly. You don't want merchants to be waiting in order to process a payment, and you don't want to be down. So it is important to deal with a single entity, and we provide that. Our software has been in existence for over 10 years. We know what we're doing. We understand QuickBooks. We understand the payment industry. We understand the hardware as well. So it is best to just make a single phone call and get your issue resolved within minutes. Other than that, I mean, we support the same features that Intuit offers. We also included EBT as part of the solution, which is not in existence at this point in point of sale natively. And we're just looking forward to working with you.
That's right. That's right. And so if they decide to continue using it, what do they need to do, Phil? Do they need to actually make any changes to their QuickBooks itself? Does QuickBooks sort of stop working after the sunset date? What really should everyone expect will happen on October 3rd?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the process. But before that, one question that we get all the time is, I have an e-commerce. Can you actually work with e-commerce? The answer is yes. You can tie your e-commerce to the new merchant account as well and realize the savings. You don't need to have separate accounts for that. Now, let's talk about the process. So what we do is, the first step is obviously have your statements. They're part of a bank requirements in order to approve a new merchant account. So we might as well ask you for the 3 statements they will be requesting. We're going to use them to analyze your QuickBooks merchant account. We have a software that does that automatically and sends you a proposal showing you the savings. A common question is really, can you give me percent rates? The quick answer is interchange, which not many people understand, has been in existence. That's for many years. That's how the card brands bill for processing a card, and the rates change depending on the card, depending on how it was actually processed. Intuit tends to group those into tiers. So getting into the explanation of how much you're going to save is not that trivial, but we're happy to work with you. So once you get your merchant account approved, which we will send you paperwork to enter via email. So you will get the application via email, you will enter on a website, we submit it to the bank. And once your account is approved, they're gonna give us credentials to program your equipment. So the equipment is really programmed with your VAR sheet, basically your payment merchant account data. We will ship them to you, and they're networking devices, same as a computer. That's why we remove the PCI compliance out of your Windows and your POS software. Once you hook up these terminals on the network, you let us know that they're connected, and then we schedule a date and time. When that date arrives, we connect to your computer remotely, and we will actually configure the payment terminal to work with your QuickBooks. We will install the Payment Collect plugin and test it. So it's easy, it takes no more than 15 minutes. We will turn off your Intuit merchant account. We will connect the Payment Collect plugin, which is seamless. It starts with QuickBooks, you don't have to do anything. It seems completely transparent. The moment you click on credit or debit, it will automatically trigger the payment terminal waiting for a credit card. You enter the credit card, it's processed, and automatically the payment is posted into the sales receipt. There's nothing else that you need to do. And that's all it takes.
Excellent. And, we've pasted this link already in the chat panel. So if you want to go ahead and click on it, you can fill out the form right here. It talks a little bit about what those benefits are. We also have some videos to kind of show you how the merchant processing kind of system works, but it's really completely seamless and simple, just the way that you've been using QuickBooks Point of Sale all this while. I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and I've got a window full of questions. So I'm just going to jump right ahead and start to answer them in the sequence in which I got them. So one, I have a question here from Rick Kane. He asks, currently we have QuickBooks and a Shopify website, and we use Webgility as well. If we go with Shopify for our point of sale, will that make the other two obsolete, or keeping inventory accurate? So if you're using Shopify, if you're selling online already with Shopify, and you decide to also use Shopify's point of sale, the good news is that your inventory will always be up to date, because Shopify point of sale and Shopify will share the same inventory. So you will not need to sync any inventory between Shopify, but your accounting will still need to be properly integrated. So there are some free plugins available for Shopify to connect directly to QuickBooks. If you decide to use one of those free solutions, then yes, you do not need Webgility. But what we've found is most of those free solutions don't give you the robust integration capabilities, like being able to select different payment types, being able to record things at a transaction level, being able to look at your cash flow on a daily, weekly basis. There's just a lot of things that you lose if you use something that's a free the plugin that's offered by Shopify. So for that particular solution, what I would recommend is go ahead and keep using Shopify, set up your Shopify point of sale as well, and you can use Webgility to help you keep your Shopify point of sale and your online sales integrated with QuickBooks. Just talk to someone from our sales team or support team, and we can get you set up or move to the right plan so that everything that you have continues to work seamlessly. Hopefully that answered your question, Rick. And if you have any others, please feel free to add them in the chat window. The second question I have here is, gift cards. Can we keep using the gift cards we have? Phil, you want to take that one?
Pamela, so the answer to your question about the gift cards is yes, we can continue using both those with balances and those that are unused or blank. What we require in order to import the GiveX gift cards is basically a GiveX report containing every single card number in it. We take that report and we import it into our database. And for the blank cards, they don't tend to be included in the GiveX report. We're going to ask you to send us a file containing those numbers. You can scan them if they have a barcode with a barcode reader, or with a magnetic stripe, a plain simple magnetic stripe reader, and send us that into a single file. We will import those as well, and you're ready to go using the existing cards and those new ones as well.
Excellent. I have another question here. What other companies would provide support services? Phil, do you have any thoughts on can they get ongoing support for point of sale if they need it?
There are multiple companies out there that will provide support. We're very familiar with one that we will work close with. It's called Big Hairy Dog. They seem to be on the ball and really good at what they do. Again, I'm not promoting them uniquely. This is the one that I'm mostly familiar with.
Yes, you please also reach out to WebGility support team. We have a network of QuickBooks point of sale experts that we can refer you to. But keep in mind, like Phil said earlier, we have customers that are still running QuickBooks point of sale 2010 effectively. So, it's a pretty robust piece of software, and you'll not get software upgrades for sure, but yeah, you continue using it for at least the known future here. I have another question here. It's coming from Renee. Renee says, why didn't I know this a month ago? In a panic, I purchased new hardware last week. So frustrating. This is a no-brainer, but already purchased everything. Well, sorry, I'm really sorry, Renee, that you purchased new hardware. If you've already pulled the trigger, we wish you the best, and hopefully that solution will work great for you. We have been promoting our solution for some time, but it's unfortunate we didn't get a chance to get you to see this in time. But if you want to kind of give it a shot, please take a look again. You still have some time. If you're still in the return window and want to continue to use point of sale, this might be a good answer for you. I have another question here. Download and post purchase orders created on Shopify using QuickBooks, posting to QuickBooks as a purchase order. Okay, so it sounds like we have some a tricky question around purchase orders with Shopify and WebGility Desktop. I'm sorry, I don't have the time to answer it on this particular webinar, but if you'd like, please reach out to our support team, and they'll be able to answer that one for you. I have another question from Philip Edwards. Will WebGility continue to integrate and exchange inventory and sales with QuickBooks to WooCommerce-based websites? Yes, the answer is yes. We will continue to do that. Behind the scenes, in fact, later this month, WebGility is going to, if you are currently on a QuickBooks point of sale plan, we're going to be just making some changes to the plan names so that we can take you off of kind of an old Intuit supported plan and move you to a WebGility plan. Because as you know, as Intuit has announced, they're going to discontinue connected services. So those connected services are attached to a particular plan that you might have signed up for. We're just going to make sure behind the scenes, everything is buttoned up. So you'll see no issues, and everything will continue to operate as is, with no impact to you on the cost either. So your WebGility plan will stay intact, and you'll be able to continue integrating those data syncs. Jamie, do you expect issues if we convert to another software at a later date, since QB won't be able to offer support? Not sure I follow the full question here, but it sounds like, if you expect to convert to another software at a later date. So if you decide you want to switch to a different point of sale sometime in the future, that's absolutely a choice for you. You don't have to move right away. You can switch to WebGility payments now, continue to use QuickBooks point of sale. This is also, frankly, a way to buy you some time. So if you feel like you're getting rushed into making the decision to move, you don't have to. Switch over, see how it works for you. And if you do feel at a future date that you wish to move to a different a different point of sale solution, that's totally your choice. But you don't have to be under the gun. And that's why we're here to kind of offer you another choice, is to move those payment solutions over in the short term, so you're not feeling like the time binge. Okay, I'm at a couple more minutes here. If everyone's still around, we'll continue the webinar maybe another 5 to 10 minutes past our allocated time. I still see more questions coming in. Rachel asks, will there be support for our point of sale or just support for the payment processing? So Phil and team will be providing support for all of your payments and technical questions related to payment processing. And we have a network of QuickBooks point of sale advisors who can offer ongoing support for point of sale. And as always, Webgility team is available to help you with not only point of sale questions, but definitely all of your e-commerce related questions. So we'll be around. We're not going anywhere. Another question I have from Rick, how hard is it to import inventory from QuickBooks to Shopify for point of sale? So I wouldn't say it's really that hard. If you look into it, has a set of FAQs, and under their FAQs, they have, they say they've collaborated with Shopify. There are some discounts for some of the hardware if you want to move there. And Shopify's point of sale solution, they have built some free tools. I'm sorry, I can't sort of vouch for them. I haven't actually used them, but there are some tools that Shopify has built to help you with a one-time inventory migration. It does not bring any of your historic transactions. So you should know that all of your old transactions and customer data from previous sales will not get imported if you decide to switch over to Shopify point of sale. Hopefully I answered that question. I have another one here from Patrick. What about the mailback sending from the remote store to the HQ? This was a service provided by QuickBooks that is being eliminated. Can you, Phil, can you speak to that? The mailback sending from the remote store to the HQ?
So by the mailback, I'm going to assume that we're talking about the multi-store data exchange. If that is the case, then yes, that's going away, but we have a component, another plugin that basically takes care of exchanging the data using our network. So in essence, the data gets transferred to our server, and from our server gets distributed to your other locations. So the sync happens the same way it happens with QuickBooks right now.
Okay, excellent. Yes, so you will continue to be able to do the integration between the multi-store locations with the payment collect software. Rachel is asking, will everything still integrate with our QuickBooks financial software? The answer is yes. When you move over to QuickBooks point of sale and you integrate with Webgility, we will basically bring in all of your data from your e-commerce channels into QuickBooks point of sale, and the QuickBooks on point of sale to desktop integration per Intuit will continue to work. But if that doesn't, if at some point they change their minds, Webgility does provide direct integration between Shopify and your QuickBooks financials as well. So that's as if you decide to continue that route, there are multiple choices. But from what I understand from Intuit, your point of sale will continue to work. And you'll not have a problem syncing point of sale with QuickBooks financials. Those are most of the questions I have here. I see TJ with another question. If I want to open another store in the future and want to use QuickBooks point of sale, can I still do that? Phil, what do you think?
At this point, Intuit is not selling any multi-store location licenses anymore. You can add existing licenses, but that doesn't mean that there might not be another way of doing that in the future. This is something that we need to research a little more.
Okay, sounds good. I have another question. Do we have to sign a long-term contract? What's the contract period for signing up with payments? Phil?
Setting up a new account, it really requires a commitment from your side. The paperwork to apply for a new merchant account and get approved is lengthy. So it's not something that you want to take lightly. However, we understand that you might assess that you want to go in a different direction. For that reason, we're giving you the first 30 days, you can actually cancel anytime, no penalties, no early termination fee. You will have to buy the equipment though. So the equipment belongs to you. But after 30 days, if you want to continue using the solution, then you have to commit to a year.
So we have a yearly agreement, but just keep in mind, even before you commit, you're going to get a full estimate and a breakdown of your merchant fees. So Phil's team will take the last 3 months of your point of sale transactions. We will review your merchant statements, and Phil's team will actually give you a detailed breakdown of what you were paying with Intuit Merchant Services and what you're now going to be paying with Whipagility Payments. So you'll be able to do a full apples to apples comparison of those services. And that should help you really make the choice, because we're also not just looking at one statement, we're looking at the last 3 months. So you know that if there was any sort of seasonal variation, some new card types were introduced, you'll actually have a really good idea of what that'll look like. And behind the scenes, we're using very standardized interchange. And Phil, you can maybe speak to this, but I believe you have thousands of customers that are using the solution. So this is not, this is not something new, but it's something that we've now formed in terms of a partnership with Payment Collect.
Correct. Our solution has been tested for a long time. It's already really well used with hundreds of users all over the United States. So we're comfortable in offering you a robust solution that you're going to be happy with.
Great. I have another question here from Susan. How much do the terminals cost?
Terminal costs keep changing. It's hardware. So as you know, hardware keeps changing, not just new models, but the existing ones keep dropping in price. It keeps changing all the time. We have 3 different models at this point in time. The entry-level one is it's about $350 around there. And that includes shipping, programming, configuration, all of the above. So all you will have to do is just plug it in and configure the Payment Collect software to connect to it.
Excellent. I have another question here. Can all different payment types be taken? So I know it looks like we support chip, swiped, keyed. Are there any limitations, Phil, on any type of payment types compared to maybe what customers might have today with QuickBooks Point of Sale?
No, all the payments are accepted. We include the EBT, which is not part of QuickBooks POS natively, but we have a way of managing those as well.
Excellent. I have another question here from Cynthia. Do you know how the Shopify's payments compares to Payment Collect?
I know that Payment Collect, we have a lot of flexibility in the pricing because we control it. So we don't have a set price list. We're very flexible. I don't think you have that same flexibility with Shopify.
Yes, and if I can jump in here, I've definitely looked at some of the price points and some of the proposals that Payment Collect has sent out, and we've seen most merchants by far see a lot of savings using Payments Collect. By the way, this is why we chose Payment Collect as a partner. We felt like it was a much better solution for customers. I have another question here from TJ. I already have a PAX S300 terminal. Can I use it when I go with Payment Collect?
TJ, the answer is yes. However, for PIN debit, every single processor or every single independent sales organization has a different injection encryption key that goes directly into the terminal. So yes, we can move it for credit cards, but if you wanted to process PIN debit, which is cheaper, then the device needs to be injected again, which means you need to ship it to an injection facility and then program the correct encryption key for the device. Now, again, from day one, you can use it for processing credit cards and including debit cards through the credit network, but you won't get PIN debit natively.
Yeah, and there's another related question of reprogramming existing terminals. If someone wanted to do some reprogramming, Philip, what does that process look like?
Usually we have devices that we can lend out while they send their device to be re-encrypted. The re-encryption has to happen at a major house that is PCI compliance and supervised. So there's only a number of set facilities that can do that in the US. But that process wouldn't take any more than, I would say, 2 weeks. So they will get the device back and then they can return the loaner to us.
Sounds good. I have another question here from JD. I know, guys, we're way over time here, but it seems like there's a lot of questions, so we're just going to keep going here. JD Ashton has a question. Does Payment Collect offer a low rate for debit card transactions in store or 0 rate for debit card transactions in store?
There is no thing as a 0 rate. When you look at the interchange, which is exactly what the card brands charge for every card and payment that gets processed, it's a table that contains over 100 pages, 100 Excel pages. Imagine the complexity of this. These tables get published every 6 months. So there is no such a thing as a 0 cost processing. What we do is we pass the interchange cost to you, which is exactly what the card brands will charge you. We don't change it. We don't add any surcharges or any new fees to it. What we do is we basically charge a very small percent per transaction and a very small flat rate per transaction just to cover the cost of support and the software and everything that we provide you with. So it's a little different from the Intuit tier pricing model.
Yes, sounds good. I have another question here from Chris Brown. If you're only using QuickBooks Point of Sale and not financial, can we use Payment Collect without WebGility, or do you need both? Great question. You don't need WebGility's integration in order to use Payment Collect. So Payment Collect will continue to work to help you process payments. So if you're planning to just switch your payments, just visit the website, sign up for payments, and you're ready to roll. But if you are also selling online and you need to integrate your point of sale with your e-commerce channels so that your inventory levels are updated and your orders from your online channel are flowing into point of sale as well, that bidirectional data syncing is why you would need WebGility. So payments is really for payment processing inside point of sale. But if you want to continue to sell online, you'd use WebGility. If you're not planning to sell online and you're just going to be using QuickBooks in your retail location, then you don't need WebGility. You just need WebGility payments. You won't need the data syncing capabilities that we provide. I have another question here. We're using point of sale and considering Shopify. Shopify says they have a QuickBooks connector, but we also sell on eBay. So how do we handle that? Well, so the simple answer is, you need WebGility. When you're selling on multiple channels, WebGility is the best and most robust application to connect all of those different channels with QuickBooks. If you're going to stay with Shopify, you're going to sell online with Shopify and do your point of sale with Shopify. Depending on which version of QuickBooks you have, if you're using QuickBooks Financial's desktop version or the QuickBooks Online version, that integration is where WebGility comes into the picture. So we will be the solution of choice for you to integrate your eBay, your Shopify. If you decide to expand on other channels as well, we keep all of the inventory in sync, all of the revenue, the fees, all of that tracking that you need with QuickBooks, we will solve for you. You'll end up having to stitch together several different connectors from Shopify, most of which have very, very rudimentary capabilities. And yeah, that's not the ideal solution. So if you're looking for something robust, you're going to definitely need to, especially if you're multi-channel, you'll need to work with one of our WebGility plans. I have another question here. I was just about to wrap up. David says, love WebGility, but it sounds like inventory will be moved over to QuickBooks at its inventory will be moved over to QuickBooks as it was handled in POS. Is that the case? That really depends. So, depending on what your strategy is going forward. So if you're continuing to if you're moving over to Shopify, then your Shopify online channel and your Shopify point of sale will share the same inventory, which means you're not going to have another inventory system. Everything will be running within Shopify. But like the other, like David asks, who sells also on eBay, if you sell on eBay, now you've got to decide what is your inventory system of record. If it's Shopify and you want to sync your inventory to eBay, now you're going to have an inventory conflict. So you're going to need WebGility to help you keep all of that in sync. If you plan on not using Shopify point of sale and you're just staying with QuickBooks, again, you're going to need WebGility to keep all of those channels in sync. So it really just comes down to kind of what you plan to do and how you're going to run, your inventory. What is your inventory master and how are you going to sync? We have a question here, which is a phone number to contact us. I'll ask our team here in marketing to provide that specific support number as a wrap up here. Again, thank you everyone for your time. We really appreciate it. I know it's a challenging time. We've only got about 40 some days for you to make this transition, but rest assured, we're here to help you. Phil and his team are on standby. Visit that webpage we told you, fill out the form, and we'll be happy to take your applications, get you set up, get you approved for your merchant account, and also show you what the rate discounts look like. And yeah, hopefully we'll make this a smooth transition for you and your employees so that you can continue to use QuickBooks Point of Sale, or if you choose to use another point of sale system, we can help you in that process as well. Thanks so much, everyone, for the time. Wishing you all the best in this migration. And thanks, Phil, for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
See ya.